And we're kicking it off with a great guest, too, Johnny.
We sure are. You know, the scripture tells us to always be prepared to give a defense for our faith. It doesn't say anything about age, but it does apply to all ages.
Yeah, you're right.
Speak it with your lives. But in some cases, we have people actually very young speaking out and explaining their faith. And so we're really excited to have Catherine Stewart with us this morning, a 17-year-old high school student from Baton Rouge, published her first book on apologetics. The name of the book is How to Become a Heroic Catholic, a guide to defending Catholicism for teenagers and young adults. Good morning, Catherine.
Good morning.
I am so excited. I have been able to read about 3/4 of this book, How to Become a Heroic Catholic, and it is written ideally for teenagers in a great style. So we got to hear the story. What led you to write this book?
I spent about 6 months talking for a couple hours a day with one of my Protestant friends online, and I had to Google or go to my mom to find out every single answer to the questions she had.
So you couldn't answer
I
them
couldn't
right
answer
away?
her questions.
Okay. So when you give us an example. What was one of the ones that really stumped you?
She asked me why we use relics from the saints, and I had no idea. I knew we used them. I knew we venerated them.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know why.
Okay. So what the first thing you did, you said, what did you tell her? Did you try and get defensive? Did you get mad? What did you do?
No, I told her I didn't know the answer, but I'd be happy to look it up and get back to her.
That's a great answer.
That's a really good answer. So how did you do that? You said you Googled, but what kind of sources did you go to?
Catholic.com, Catholic Answers was one of my main ones.
Oh, yeah.
And then my mom was another one.
Kim's in the studio with us, proud mom. All right. And so then what did you do? Did you just kind of put an answer back and kind of had this dialogue going back and forth? Okay. Well, was that I guess a friendly kind of an exchange? How did that then evolve after that?
It was very friendly. We had set strict parameters for our discussions. That way we wouldn't end up in an argument or hurting one another.
Oh, okay. And so were there then she just kind of brought up another one and another one? Or is that how it kind of started to snowball? Okay. For you, what was this like? I mean, here you are, you kind of being hit with this thing and you don't know the answer. Did it rock your faith? Did it shake your faith? Did you really start questioning things? Or what was the effect on you from a spiritual standpoint and an educational standpoint?
I knew that my faith was true. I knew that Catholicism was correct in everything it taught. And I knew I had to find the answers for that. And spiritually, it gave me this want to know. It gave me this thirst to know why we believe what we believe.
So the more you dug into it, the more you wanted to know more?
That's right.
Okay. Now, how did this turn into then a book? I mean, it's one thing to talk about, to give answers, but there's another, like, wow, and writing an apologetics book. How did that happen?
It happened because I realized if I knew so little about my faith, and I've had a very strong Catholic education thanks to wonderful schooling my mom has given me, and how little other teenagers and young adults know about their faith. They don't know why we believe what we believe, and they're out there being questioned, and they can't answer it.
Wow. We are talking with Catherine Stewart, and who wrote the book, How to Become a Heroic Catholic, a Guide to Defending Catholicism for Teenagers and Young Adults. Catherine, so you hit on something I didn't really realize. That I know when we pick up Catholic Answers or other apologetics book, it is really written for adults.
Yeah.
One of the things about your book, I mean, when you read it, it's so conversational, and it's written, just kind of in the language. Talk about that. I mean, when you were trying to figure out how am I going to write this book, how can I write it such that it appeals to people that are my age or younger?
Yeah, that was one of the main goals. I wanted to appeal to the people in my own age group and a little older, college age, and I had to find the writing style that worked for that. So I chose the conversational manner because that appeals to me as a young person, and I know it appeals to my fellow young people.
Yeah, but you also give really good references in here. So, in other words, you give excerpts from the Catechism in here, and then, of course, you give a lot of other references back here that they can recommend and go find other things. Was there any part of this process or this journey, this searching that you did that for you was just a moment of aha or wow, or from a spiritual standpoint of your faith just really grew, that maybe it was an area that you struggled with the most when you were answering these questions, and it was one that for you it was a little bit of a struggle to kind of get over? Sometimes people have an issue with a particular topic or something, and it's a moment of growth or grace. Just curious.
For me, I guess it was seeing the history of the papacy and how that came about, and how much the church fathers, who I reference a lot in the book, really trusted the papacy. They knew it was what Christ had instituted, and they stood up for it over and over again. What did
that say to you? I mean, because I understand that I'm not sure it is with young Protestants, but have an issue with anything that happened in the early church. They don't really see the relevance of it. Was that an obstacle in trying to talk about early church fathers with in this case? I mean, some people say, I don't really want to.
Some people liked it, some people not so much.
I guess. And I guess that does bring me to the big. What's been the reaction? Is this gone beyond this initial person you were having a chat with? Other young Protestants, if you had an opportunity to get any feedback from them, or even feedback from other young Catholics?
Well, actually, I got a lot of feedback from my publisher, who's a Protestant. She really enjoyed the book. She had a lot of questions, though, and so it sparked a conversation between us two.
Oh, wow! That's a good place to start if you can kind of change well, we had talked a little bit at one time about how much there are out there in terms of preconceptions, misconceptions by young people. Did you encounter that? I mean, as far as being a block?
Yes, very much so.
Like, for example, this is what they'd always heard, or what, and they didn't want to hear anything, or what was it like?
Well, they'd always heard that we worship Mary was one big thing. Another thing was that...
Well, what did you tell them when they were saying, well, you worship Mary? What was your response, reaction?
I told them that we honor Mary because Christ honored her first.
I love how you do it in the book, too. You said it multiple. Let me say it again. We do not worship Mary. Oh, in case you didn't catch that, we don't worship Mary. You kind of did that conversationally, and just like you talk.
That's my little sister's favorite part of the whole book.
Well, I wanted to make sure people got information about where to get the book, obviously. It's brand new.
Yeah, I was going to say, how long has it been out?
It's now a little over a month now.
Whoa, okay, it is brand new then.
Okay, so so where can people get it? How to become a heroic Catholic, especially for their high school children and people they're catechizing, confirmation, right? All kind of possibilities.
Right, you can find it on Amazon, actually. Just Google the name, search the name of it on Amazon, it'll be there.
Excellent.
And I ask you, it has to be so cool, 17 years old, and and you've already got a book on Amazon?
Yeah. And high praise from Jimmy Aiken on this book, too. That must have been pretty cool.
It was really cool. It was like Christmas morning when I opened up my email and saw that.
Yes, Jimmy Aiken is a well-known apologist with Catholic answers. Well, Catherine, what's next? I understand you're already working on your next book. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
What is it?
My next book is on pro-life apologetics for teenagers and young adults, trying to help them know how to defend the culture of life and this culture of death that we live in.
Wow. 17 years old and still. Now, I understand do you have a blog site or a website?
Yes, I do.
Get with you?
It's howtobecomeaheroiccatholic.com.
Easy to remember.
That is very easy to remember.
Well, I'll say is with your mom, Kim's in the room here. I'm sure you're very proud of your beautiful young daughter here, Catherine, for advancing truth and faith and doing it with such love and such grace. So, congratulations. Thank you, Catherine. Keep it up.
Thank you.
We're so delighted to have you with us here this morning on Wake Up. And that'd be a great Christmas gift for the grandkids, I think. I'm doing some shopping.